Welcome to Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. It is a half hour of local conversation that we love to bring to you because we really enjoy talking about the movers and the shakers and the people who are getting things done in the Cadillac area. Katie Huckle is my co-host, and one of our favorite guests has returned.
Yes.
Captain Greg Bock from the Cadillac Salvation Army, and we've got Thanksgiving in a few weeks, and we are only 7 weeks away from Christmas, so the Salvation Army is going to be busy in the next few weeks.
It certainly is. It already is busy.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. It's always good to be here. I always love the invitation to come and talk about what we're doing, and I like talking about Salvation Army, so this is always a highlight of my day.
We're going to start with the Ed Kellogg food drive. As long as I've lived here in Cadillac, which is 2007, there has been an Ed Kellogg food drive, and I don't know how long it went on before I moved here, but I know it's been a while. So we are in the midst of that. We just had Friday, and now we've got another 10 to 6 collection today, right?
We do.
Okay.
We do. And for all those that are going out their Saturday morning grocery shopping at Walmart, Family Fare, Save-A-Lot, Ebels, and Falmouth, and Rogers of Lake City, there will be people at those front doors handing slips of paper out with our food list for what we'll need to fill the Thanksgiving baskets we'll hand out later on in the month for our Thanksgiving distribution. So, listen, if people have post-election blues, the best way to get over that is to lose yourself in service to other people.
I love it.
And whether that's, being on the ground, doing something with an organization, or grabbing a slip of paper, walking through their front door of a local grocery store and buying something from the shelf and dropping it back off when you leave the store, that's the best way to do it.
I couldn't agree more. And Greg, we have talked to Love in the Name of Christ. We've talked to Oasis. We've talked to
New Hope Center just last weekend.
So many nonprofits are telling us that the cupboards are bare, that people are hungry, people are hopeless, and people are homeless. And it brings tears to my eyes to know that the need is greater than ever before, and we don't have the resources we need. We're not ready for this kind of hunger right now.
No.
So besides taking your grocery list, if we have a listener out there that maybe isn't going to be going grocery shopping, what can they do to contribute? How can they help?
Listen, first and foremost, just the fact that they have it in their heart to want to help. We appreciate that very much. Outside of the actual food going from the store shelf to their cart, to the front door of the store where they're dropping it off, they can. It sounds, I hate to say it like this, but if they want to write a check, we get food from the the food bank, Western Michigan Food Bank, from 0 to 18 cents per pound.
Right. You can buy it cheaper.
We can get it cheaper through the food bank.
Okay.
So if they want to donate their financial resources to this, it would be the best way outside of actively participating by getting a shopping list and going and buying the groceries in the store.
That is interesting. So a $100 check will go a long way because you're not paying retail,
Absolutely.
Right? Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
You guys do it all, Greg. You really do.
We try. The need is so big, and I've said it before in other communities I've been in, and it's been true of Cadillac as well. The need is big, but the hearts of those that live here is even bigger.
Awesome.
And when you have the heart of those that want to see good happen in their community, teaming up with places like Salvation Army, like Oasis, like Love Inc., like New Hope, like the service organizations, Kiwanis, Rotary Club, when you can partner those together, man, I get goosebumps talking about it. The good that can happen, good people happen to bad things, and that's what makes the difference.
Okay.
And
haven't heard that one before.
It's something that, that came out, Salvation Army put that out in the middle of the pandemic.
Okay.
Good people happen to bad things. And whenever they can, just dig deep. And you know what? I'll say this too. I hear this from both the food drive volunteers and also those that ring the bell for us at Christmas time. They say the people that they wouldn't expect to stop and give are the ones who sometimes absolutely give the most.
It's true. I've seen it with my own eyes when I've been a bell ringer.
Yeah.
Somebody who And again, it's that lesson, right? We don't judge a book by its cover.
Right. And they know the struggle. The struggle is real for everybody
Right
now. And they walked it. They've been through it. And sometimes they're going through it at the moment. But they know that they've been blessed and they want to pass that blessing on to somebody else. It's really cool. We had a guy come in to the Corps the other day, and he said, hey, a few years ago, I was down and out, and Salvation Army put me in a hotel, and they gave me money for food. They provided me with food, gave me a food card as well to go to the local grocery store, get some food to sustain me in the hotel. And he said, I'm in a much better position in life, and I have a whole cow for you.
Wow.
And we got the carts, and literally a whole cow that had been processed was walked
That
through
is
the front
worth
door.
real money.
I know. I was blown away. And I thought, you know what? Thank you, R.C. Duskin,
Yes.
when he was here for just having the heart of the Salvation Army and the heart of wanting to see people live their best and eat their best and be their best, you know, and meeting the need. So when we can plant those seeds now and watch them come to fruition later, this was one of those full circle moments where that seed planted by the employees and the officer in Cadillac years ago came back to fruition.
You know, you're reminding me, and I remember we talked to RC about this, Rich, years ago during the pandemic. Project Christmas was not going to happen. We didn't have the volunteers. We didn't have the gifts. We didn't have the food. We didn't have the clothes. You know, there was a hat and mitten table. We had none of it. And guess who pulled off Project Christmas? The Salvation Army did. You know, I mean, you do have a reputation for staying strong in your programs, but then when a need pops up, addressing that need. You are the go-to. And I will tell you, Cadillac has a history and a reputation for meeting the needs of the community.
Oh, yeah.
It's our job to tell the community what that need is. And this is a very real need. Can we talk about the quantity of food? What is your goal?
Yeah. So what we're going to do, how this food will be used is it will be given out in our food distribution, Thanksgiving distribution. And I'll tell you when that's going to be. November 26th will be our Thanksgiving distribution. We're going to pass out 250 food baskets at the Corps on that day from 9 to 1. And then also at that same time, at the church next door to Rogers in Lake City, the Presbyterian church there,
Yes.
will also be the Missaukee County food distribution for the first time we've done that for 150 food baskets. So we're looking to get food for 400.
Incredible. And that's a full Thanksgiving dinner.
Yes.
Oh boy. Okay. What is the dinner? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and in fact, it's on the food list that is that's given out at the front door.
Okay.
So there's going to be a turkey. We'll have turkey handed out. There's the gravy and the stuffing mix and potatoes. Now, we have instant potatoes on the form. And listen, I've hung out with my Amish friends enough now to know that they ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. You know what I mean?
Ain't nothing like the real.
Yeah, come on. And so if somebody wants to drop off bags of real potatoes, we'll take those too, because I'm all about that. Peanut butter, there's some cake and brownie mix on the list, macaroni and cheese, spaghetti sauce, pasta sauce, canned vegetables, and we'll also have things, you know, if we get them, things like cornbread, you know, mix,
Right.
things like that.
What about a pumpkin pie?
Hey, well, we'll save the pumpkin pie. If people have pumpkin pie and they want to donate it, they can bring that to the Thanksgiving Day dinner that's
Okay.
free for the community. That will be at Temple Hill Baptist Church, put on by Salvation Army and the Cadillac Area Ministerial Association on Thanksgiving Day from 11:30 to 1.
Okay.
At
So
Temple
what are
Hill.
what is the date of Thanksgiving?
Oh, you know
Is
what?
it the 28th?
That's a good 28th.
Okay, so it's the 28th. So your distribution is on the 26th. So folks, you know, Thanksgiving is a one-day holiday, but if you could probably use some help assembling and handing out these baskets. How do folks sign up to volunteer to help with
Absolutely.
distribution?
Yeah, 775-7131.
Okay.
Or if you're on Facebook, social media, the Salvation Army of Cadillac, Michigan.
Okay.
And they can Facebook us, they can call us at the 775-7131. Or if they see me out and about in the community, say, hey, there's that Salvation Army guy. Hey, you.
Right.
How do I help?
Right.
And I can let them know then as
Okay.
well.
Yeah, I mean it's Thanksgiving, so we're supposed to be thankful, right?
Yeah. Oh, and you know
Okay.
what? We have a lot to be thankful for. I know the election just came, and we endured months of election coverage and all that stuff, and half the country's happy, half the country's sad, and
Right.
But you know what? We have a lot to be thankful for.
Right.
We do, and for those that are out there that just find hope so distant right now, you know, Thanksgiving is a good time to stop and reflect.
Right.
If you have breath in your lungs, and you can get the words across your lips. Be thankful.
Right.
If you have movement in your limbs, and some people don't, and they're in wheelchairs, and I understand that, but thought in their brain, you know, be thankful. Heat in their home, be thankful. They can be thankful for heat in their home and actually help us provide heat in another person's home, you know, by helping Salvation Army do that through our utility program. But you know what? There was a time when I was so just depressed. I'll never forget it. I was like in high school, or maybe I was in senior of high school or freshman year of college. And I was so just depressed. I don't even know why. But I was laying there one night and my feet were cold. And I thought, well, you dummy, go put on some socks. And I grabbed the socks and put them on my feet, and it was gone like that. The cold was gone from my feet like that. And I thought, you know what? Some people don't have socks to put on their feet. And I had to go back down to the very basic thing, like socks for my cold feet. And I'll never forget that, because that moment stuck with me, because I was really like, woe is me.
Right.
Woe is me. It's so bad. Life is so tough, and family situations, and, you know, probably job stuff. And at that point, I wasn't in Salvation Army. And I thought, I have socks on my feet. I have the ability to have a job, to work. I have a home. I have running water, access to hot water, you know,
Fresh air.
And I'm like, so the election blues might be real in someone's life right now.
Right.
But look at what we have.
Right.
Look at what we have as Americans, and the ability, like I said at the very beginning, the best way to get over that is to lose yourself in service to someone else. And give of
Excellent.
yourself and
Excellent.
your time, talents, treasures, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
Completely agree with that. And we do get lost in the big things and forget about the little things. You know, the ability to take a shower, having running water, those
hot water.
kinds of things. Yeah, and I will say that I think it is a wonderful thing as if you have a family. If you have kids who are old enough to assist, that is the perfect time to teach your family how to be in service to others.
Yes, absolutely.
I did that with my kids when they were little, and let me tell you, it was an eye opener. It was an eye opener because I have 13 side dishes with our Thanksgiving dinner. I'm not
13?
kidding. I do. It's ridiculous.
I want to come to your house next
You're
Thanksgiving.
invited. I do 2 turkeys, one on the grill, one in the oven.
Is there a Katie cake involved with that?
Oh yeah. Well, last year's Katie cake. And you know what? I'm going to put my money where my mouth is with this. You're going to each get one. It is a pumpkin caramel cheesecake with a roasted pecan graham cracker crust. Boom. Mic drop.
Man. Yes.
It's money.
Oh, I got goosebumps. I call myself, I know I'm a fat kid. Whenever somebody's explaining their food that they cook, and I get goosebumps, my mouth starts watering. I'm like, oh.
Well, this cutest story, I had talked up this. I was so excited to share it with my family last year. And a little niece came up and she said, right after dinner, you're exhausted after dinner. You're carrying with all these side dishes and everything. The table's got to look a certain way and centerpieces and all the accoutrements. And she said, is it time for dessert? And I said, can you give me just a minute? And she said, just 1 minute? This is a second grader, okay? And I said, okay, you know what? Auntie Katie's going to put a 15-minute timer on. And if I can just sit down for 15 minutes, can you give me that? Yep, I can give you 15 minutes. I'm telling you, 14 minutes and 59 seconds later, that little girl was sitting on my lap 1 inch from my face. Is it time? Is it time?
Yes.
That's what Thanksgiving's all about.
We do. I started this when I was back in Muscatine, Iowa, with my first appointment as officers. And it started because we had Thanksgiving meal at the core free for the community during the noon hour. And then Liz was like, I want to cook Thanksgiving dinner for our family at night. Okay, great. That's cool. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Well, she took that pause after we ate, and we had got this dog.
Oh boy.
And we didn't clear the table right away. And it was good food. Like Liz, Liz cooks pretty good. My wife.
I know where we're going with this. It's not good.
And the dog was nowhere to be found for about 10 minutes while we were laying there in the living room watching TV or whatever. And I look over and I can just see the dog's tail wagging through the doorway. And I was like, why can I see the dog's tail kind of elevated, not below? The dumb dog had got on the table and was eating all the food there. The turkey, the gravy, mashed potato. I mean, just having a feast. And so it was ruined. And Liz was so upset. And I thought, how can we turn this into something good? So randomly in my mind, spur of the moment, I thought, we're going to do the Thanksgiving Messy for Good mashup. And Liz was like, well, what's that? I said, don't throw that stuff away. She said, well, I'm going to throw it away because we're not going to eat it. I said, we're not going to eat it. What we're going to do is we're going to go on Facebook Live. And at that point, I had the other Facebook page, and I had almost 5,000 friends then on Facebook. And I said, we're going to go on Facebook Live, and we're going to make a list. I'm going to get my uniform, my tie, my white shirt, my black pants, And I said, what we're going to do is people can look at the list. We'll put it out there. $5 for an egg cracked over my head. $5 for mashed potatoes in the face, a pie, whipped cream all over me, whatever.
Food fight!
And my kids, and my kids got to be the ones to do this to me, right? And what was awful, right?
Right.
She spent so long cooking that Thanksgiving dinner, and I felt so bad. That's how it turned out. But we raised almost $1,000 in an hour's time.
Incredible.
By people saying, and now they're in their easy chair, mind you, in their living rooms, on their phones, scrolling after Thanksgiving dinner, and they see me on there, and they're like, what's going on, right?
Back then, nobody wanted to pay attention to the Lions because they weren't very good.
It might be a different story this year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And so they watched it, and they donated. And now I had a pocket on my white uniform shirt, right? And I didn't realize it was getting full of a little bit of everything that was being poured over me. And I have pictures out there of me just covered in chocolate syrup and gravy and mashed potatoes and turkey and stuffing. And they were going through my refrigerator. My kids were finding stuff that wasn't part of the dinner. And someone said, how much would it cost for Greg to eat the contents of his pocket?
Oh, okay.
And I was like, what? What? I did.
Oh, that is disgusting.
$100. Someone donated $100. If I would now live on Facebook, so they could see my reaction in real time. I took it and they put it in a cup, and I had to drink it because it was like liquid at this point. And I did. They said, "Well, only make."
This is all the stuff that had run down your
nose
into
and
your
it had collected in this pocket, in my shirt pocket, and I had to eat it. I had $100. Now, like I said, we raised almost $1,000 that first night, and I've done it every year since. This Thanksgiving will be like I think the 5th Thanksgiving Messy for Good mashup.
All because your dog stole your meal.
All because the dog stole the meal. And I felt bad.
Is the dog still around?
No, we got rid of the dog. We gave it back to Liz's brother, I think.
Yeah,
it was a pug.
Bye-bye.
It was a pug and Chihuahua. It was a, what do they call it? Pug and Chihuahua mix. It was he was really cute. His name was Mosby. He was a cute dog. He didn't like me. But, I mean, that was a good memory. And people ask me, every year, are you going to do your Thanksgiving Messy for Good mashup? Because if you are, that's our family's entertainment on Thanksgiving night.
Forget about Macy's parade.
Is watching me do the mashup. Now, last year, I was completely covered. And I'll tell you, after the Messy for Good mashup, my hair is never as soft as it is right after I got out of the shower from washing all that stuff off, because the eggs that's in my hair and all this stuff, it feels really soft, and so
for crying out loud, that is a riot.
I know, but we turn something bad into something good. Good people happen to bad things, and it makes a difference. And so that's just.
There's never a dull day at the Bock residence.
It doesn't sound like
no.
It. Doesn't sound like
but I have a question, because Thanksgiving is my favorite meal to cook. What's your favorite thing to eat on Thanksgiving?
Ooh, when I was a kid, it was deviled eggs. Loved deviled eggs. My aunt would make them, and I'd say, I'm not coming unless there's deviled eggs. There's a whole platter for me. Because I would sneak them as we waited for the dinner. I mean, she had them done, and as a kid, I would sneak all of them all the time. But, I really love homemade stuffing.
Okay.
Love it.
Okay.
I love homemade stuffing along with the turkey and all that stuff. But when the stuffing's on point, if the stuffing isn't on point, then the whole dinner just seems kind of off,
Right.
And I got goosebumps. My mouth is watering talking about it. Stuffing is just so good. And if the turkey's good, and I'll tell you, shout out to CTC students and Chef Trevor and the students there, because they're also going to volunteer.
Doing it again this year?
They are. They're going to cook our Thanksgiving turkeys.
Awesome.
And they made a good, I think it was green bean casserole last year. Oh, it was so delicious.
That's Rich's
They're cooking
favorite.
like 4 or 5, I think, of the sides that go with Thanksgiving dinner that we do on Thanksgiving Day. So,
And I
Okay.
will tell you, Katie, last year, you remember my family was gone.
Right. I was worried about him.
She was worried about me. I'm like, oh my God, I grew up an only child. You guys go.
Right.
I'm going to enjoy football. I'm going to be by myself. I don't have
Peace.
any worries. And I went to the community. It's the first time in my life I went to a Thanksgiving community meal.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful.
Oh,
And I would
great.
love for folks who don't otherwise have plans to take advantage of this year, because it's an amazing. And I saw dozens of people I knew,
Sure.
people I didn't expect to see, at this event.
it's not about an income guideline, because it's not. This free Thanksgiving meal is, like in Rich's case, is for people not to have to be alone on Thanksgiving Day.
Right.
For a Thanksgiving meal.
Right.
You can be the wealthiest person in Cadillac. And if you're going to be alone on Thanksgiving Day, then I better see you at Temple Hill Baptist Church on Thanksgiving Day, eating good food made by CTC students and some Amish friends of mine, and, that kind of thing. So, it's come on out. It's free. It's open to anybody. Families, whatever. We'll have enough food for about 200 people, I believe. And so really, come on out, because
And I can guarantee you're going to see somebody there, maybe many people there that you know.
Right.
And you can sit with and have some time of fellowship with.
Yep.
Right. There are no income boundaries here.
Right.
Everybody is welcome.
Yep. And shout out to Revival Center. They hosted it last year for us, and it was fantastic. We moved it back into the Cadillac immediate area,
Sure.
right in the center of town at Temple Hill Baptist Church. It's more of a centralized location.
Yes.
And Pastor Andy, from Temple Hill, and Bart were more than gracious to let us host it there this year. And we're looking forward to really having a good turnout, because it was fun. Mm-hmm. People had a good time. People said, the comments were, I didn't expect to come to something like this and to enjoy it as much as I have.
Right.
100%. It's how I felt when I left. I felt like I'm reconnected to this community after this.
Yep.
Absolutely. And funny story about your work. There was an Easter dinner that you put on, like an Easter meal for folks, again, that were going to be alone. And Kathy Balzawait was involved with that. And she knew that I like to bake. It's my hobby. It's just what I do in my downtime. Or if I'm stressed out, I bake. If I'm sad, I bake. If I'm happy, I bake. And I committed to make 350 Easter cookies. And so I called my best friends, Pat and Sally Goggin, and I said, guess what, folks? Guess what you guys are going to do on Saturday with me? And Sally's like, get ready for Easter, because we celebrated holidays together and stuff. And I said, no, is Pat there? And she said, yeah. And I said, you're going to come over to my house. I've got pink frosting, lavender frosting, mint green frosting, pink frosting. And we are going to frost Easter cookies. And Sally said, what did you do? And I'll be darned, we did it. And by the time we were done, their kids were over, they were helping. And we felt like we were bigger than our something, a part of something bigger than ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It was most fun Saturday night I think I've ever had. You know,
we've talked about the event on Thanksgiving, but we didn't talk about the time. We talked about the location. When is serving time?
11:30 to 1.
Okay.
11:30 to 1. If people need a ride, let me know. We moved it into town just so if it's nice.
We hardly saw you last year because you were out bringing
I
people
was.
to the event.
Yep.
Oh,
I
that's
missed
right.
I missed
Draw 'em
the
in.
opening of it. I missed the majority of it because I was out picking up people, and I was going around town making sure that the unhoused of our community that I would see out walking, they knew about it, and if they wanted to go, I'd give them a ride. And I probably took a handful of people that had no idea what was happening,
Right.
that wanted to eat Thanksgiving meal, and I took them on Thanksgiving Day to the community Thanksgiving dinner, and they got to feel part of a community and have a nice meal with a nice table setting, and
Right.
it's just it means a lot to me that we provide that for people. I'll never forget the story in Iowa where a lady comes in and she tells me she didn't grow up with much. In fact, her dad would always tell her she was a princess. And she said, Lieutenant, I didn't feel like I was a princess ever because we just didn't have much. She said, then one time at Christmas time, I went into the Thanksgiving, I went to Salvation Army at Christmas time for a meal. And she said, I walked in and I was a little girl. She said, and there was tablecloths, like real cloth tablecloths on this table. We didn't have that at home. She's like, and there were real plates, glass plates with real silverware, and people came and poured the drinks for us. She said, and on the table in the center of them were beautifully fresh flowers. She said, and I got to eat, and she said, we didn't have that at home, and I got to eat a meal that was really good, and she said, I even got a toy. She said, and I went in there not thinking that I was the princess that my dad always said I was. And I left there thinking that he put that together just for me.
Wow.
She said, and I walked out of there knowing that I was his princess.
That's incredible.
She said, I'll never forget. And she was like in her 80s at this point telling me this. It meant that much to her.
Stuck
And
out in her mind.
I told Liz, I said, our Thanksgiving meal that year, I said, no paper anything. We're going to use glass plates,
Right.
real silverware.
Right.
We're going to get real tablecloths. We're going to give fresh cut flowers from the florist, and we did. And we, I want people to feel like they are part of a family, that they're worthy of having just a set time aside to enjoy a meal and to feel like that they are worthy of it. Because everybody listening to this right now, you are worthy. You're worthy to have a Thanksgiving meal set on a nice table setting, with real stuff, with real people who care about you and your real problems.
Yes.
And we're here to help bring real solutions to it.
Incredible. You are a light. I'm telling you. Can we talk about, because I want to get the troops fired up here. Can we talk about bell ringing quick?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
So the 13th of November is our big kettle kickoff. We're doing it with Chamber of Commerce and the Rise Up at Salvation Army, 725 Wright Street at 7 a.m. It's our big kettle kickoff along with the Rise Up. And then that Friday, the 15th, is our kettle campaign start. Like, that's when bell ringers will be out ringing the bell. So here's the thing, is we bring in a lot of money on the weekends when there's a ringer at a kettle. Right now, we don't have that many ringers scheduled. It happens every year. People just forget about it, whatever. It's easy to go online, www.registertoring.com, put in 49601, and you can find where our locations are, and you can choose your shift. You can put your email in there. It'll email you a reminder, even text reminders of when your shift is.
It's really handy. I've done it. I was in front of both Walmart and Ace Hardware last year, Greg. And it was so fun. I saw so many of my customers and so many of my friends and so many folks that during the holidays, you want to see people.
Yeah.
You want to say Merry Christmas.
Absolutely.
And God bless you. And
You know
all
what?
those
And
things.
that's a good way to teach a child to be a part of something bigger than themselves.
Yep. I agree.
Good people happen to bad things, and part of the kettle season and bell ringing is being part of the good that we get to apply to bad things when they happen in people's lives.
Right. That's awesome. I had a man outside of Ace Hardware say he had to come back for something. You know how that is when you're working on a project. You got the wrong screw with a nail, or you need a different whatever. And he came back and he said, I can't walk. I felt guilty walking by you the first time. I can't walk by you again without putting money in your kettle.
Good.
And I said, you know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
If I got to guilt you, let's get it going.
Absolutely.
So register to ring. That's Christmas.
That's Christmas.
So Today is the last day of the 2-day Ed Kellogg food drive.
Yes.
10 to 6.
10 to 6.
What locations, Greg?
We are going to be at Walmart, Family Fare, Save-A-Lot, Ebles in Falmouth, Rogers of Lake City. And a huge shout out to Fox Ford of Cadillac, Benton Baker Chevrolet of Cadillac, Benton Baker Buick and GMC of Cadillac, Benton Baker Dodge Jeep Ram of Cadillac, because those dealerships all provide the vehicles that we have sitting outside the locations to put the food in. So huge thanks to them. But yeah, those locations. And please, please, please take a slip, turn the slip over and read about Mr. Kellogg on the back and how cool of a person he was and how much he cared for this community.
Absolutely. I am going to write a check for you today in Mr. Kellogg's memory. He was an incredible man and a philanthropist here in Cadillac.
All right.
Awesome. I got goosebumps again. Thank you very much.
And one more time, Thanksgiving lunch, when and where, Greg?
On Thanksgiving Day, November 28th, 11:30 to 1 at Temple Hill Baptist Church, 1601 West Division Street in Cadillac. If you need a ride or if you need questions about it, 775-7131 or message us on Facebook.
It is always a pleasure, Greg, to have you on this
Likewise.
program. We love your enthusiasm to serve, and every community needs lots of Greg Bocks. So
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Let's clone him.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Join us next week for Cadillac Unscripted. Same time, same station for some more local chat, sponsored by Independent Bank on 107.9 CDY.